Thanks, Senator Whitehouse. 26 years ago, I walked into this very room to become a brand new member of the Senate Judiciary Committee. I was appointed to this subcommittee, and the chair was a man named Chuck Grassley. And we were doing something that was interesting. We were rewriting the bankruptcy code. You may remember that 26 years ago. Well, it turned out I was the resident expert on the bankruptcy code by virtue of taking a course in bankruptcy at Georgetown Law School and having been appointed a trustee in bankruptcy for a gas station in Springfield, Illinois, by Judge Basil Kutrakan. I had more experience with bankruptcy than anyone on the committee by virtue of those two things. And we set about writing the code, and Chuck Grassley taught me a lot about bankruptcy. He's a pretty smart fellow. So I've tried to understand it going forward and tried to put aside all the wording of bankruptcy, which can be dry as dust, to get down to the human side. Ms. Naranjo, you helped us understand the human side in a very personal way, and I know it took its toll on you emotionally, but thank you for being here. It makes a difference. So I listened to your explanation, Mr. Zumbro, rationalization of divisional merger. And there was one sentence you used that I went back to make sure I caught it. And you said, why would a company do this? And you said, by separating the company into two productive assets and businesses will be able to operate without the overhang of bankruptcy, which among other things affects employees' retention and relationships with suppliers and customers. I think it might also be about money. Just going on a limb here. It isn't just a matter of getting along with people. There's a lot of money on the table. For instance, LTL Management has $2 billion in its settlement fund. That's the poor co or bad co, depending on how you want to characterize it. $2 billion, huge, right? Not really. In one talc case against Johnson & Johnson involving 22 cancer victims, plaintiffs were awarded a judgment of more than $2 billion. How would you evaluate the legitimacy of Johnson & Johnson's claim that their actions will actually benefit the 38,000 plaintiffs like Ms. Naranjo who are seeking restitution?
Well, sir, I think that the bankruptcy system is supposed to be fair and equitable to everybody. As I mentioned in my testimony, the pot of gold for that $2 billion verdict might mean someone else gets zero in a verdict and gets nothing. So what the bankruptcy process is meant to do, you can't do that. You can't have one person getting $2 billion and one person getting nothing in the bankruptcy process because that's not permitted. So it's fair and equitable to everybody because everybody has to get treated the same in bankruptcy.
You missed something very critical. The good co, if you can call Johnson & Johnson that, is worth $430 billion. So the bad co, LTL, ends up with $2 billion for 38,000 claims. And you're saying that is a fair apportionment by Johnson & Johnson? Get real. The idea was to protect $430 billion worth of corporate assets by creating a $2 billion entity. That you think is fair because it's so small.
Sir, what I'm saying is, I don't even know if I can do the math, but whatever $2 billion is times 38,000, that's bigger than even Johnson & Johnson could pay, right? Johnson & Johnson is a lot more than, and I'm not representing Johnson & Johnson, but they're a lot more than just the talc. They've done COVID vaccines. They do a lot of other medical things that are very valuable. And Johnson & Johnson is not a monolithic corporate entity. It's owned by pension funds. It's owned by regular Americans in 401k. So this is a more nuanced issue. Yes, it's about saving money because the tort system is broken and you can't resolve 38,000 claims in the tort system. The bankruptcy system allows it to be done more efficiently.
Mr. Zumbro,
it's a win-win for both the companies and the victims.
Our legal system is supposed to be looking for justice, not efficiency. And if you think efficiency says a $430 billion corporation can walk away from any wrongdoing, I don't know when or if they ever discovered asbestos in talc, which may have led to the mesothelioma suffered by the gentlelady sitting to your right. But at some point, they're going to be asked that in court and held responsible for their answer. And apparently, they're losing these cases. So there could have easily been some knowledge, or there should have been some knowledge, that they were, in fact, selling a dangerous product which endangered the life of their innocent customers. Go to Johnson & Johnson's website and take a look at all the pictures of those beautiful babies and all the products they sold for those babies. Our family bought some. Bet you everybody in the room did too. Never thinking for a moment that it might be dangerous. It turns out it was dangerous. and people are suffering injuries, and they are trying to dance around the bankruptcy system to avoid paying these innocent victims. That is not good corporate responsibility. I yield.